I come from a one-parent family, and I don't have any siblings. So as such, when I was young, my mom would go out to work. And by the time she comes home, it would always be very late. And most of the time, I was alone at home. And I felt lonely. So at the age of 12 or 13, I went out looking for my peers. And I found them in the wrong places. So at the age of 13, I joined a gang. And shortly into joining a gang, I think it was like 3 months into it, I was introduced to marijuana. And when I tried marijuana for the very first time, I tell you, I absolutely loved that high. 4 of my close relatives were drug abusers themselves. So I actually grew up in an environment where drug abuse was very rampant. So I guess when I was older at 13 and when I could get my hands on drugs, curiosity got the better of me. And like what I said, I forgot about the cat, how the cat died. So my first drug was weed, all right? And by the age of 15, I was already addicted to heroin. So the first time I went to prison was when I was 22. Okay, and when I came out, the first thing you want to do when you get out of prison is to go visit your mother, go visit your relatives, have some quality time with them, right? Wrong. Okay. I tell you, the very first time I was released from prison, I only had one thought in my mind, and that was to go and take drugs. The very first step I came out, I flagged the taxi, I went to my supplier and I scored heroin. And I went back high. Me being an only child, of course my mom loves me a lot. She was very disappointed in me that I had chosen this path in my life, being addicted to drugs, and joining gangs, doing all the bad things. But one thing I do appreciate about my mom is that she never gave up. She never gave up. I've been in prison 5 times, I tell you. She came each and every time. There was even this once when she was in hospital for breast cancer. She actually discharged herself to come and visit me because she knew that if she had not come, I tell you, I would go haywire. Yeah, because my mom back then was the only person I have. What I can tell you is this: parental support, the support from my mother, is vital. It's vital to me turning over a new leaf. Yeah, all right. I guess without her support, I don't think I would be where I am today. So for the first 4 times that I was in prison, I wasn't married. So all I could think about was come out, party, come out, party. But the 5th time when I was in prison, things were very different because I was married and I have a daughter. So what happened was this: I guess it was like 8 months into my prison sentence. One day my daughter came to visit. Okay, when I was inside there for the 5th time, my wife would bring my daughter to visit me once every month. So on this particular day that my daughter came, that day was very special. It was special because it was her birthday. Her exact day she had turned 4. So my wife had bought her a brand new dress. And my daughter was so proud of the dress that when she stepped into the cubicle, she started to parade herself. Dada, look at my dress, pretty, right? And when she sat down, I sang her a birthday song. So all of us were singing and clapping, and we were also happy. And then at the end of the song, my daughter looked at me with those innocent eyes and she said, Dada, Carrie. I tell you, when I heard her saying that, my heart absolutely dropped. Okay? I was in prison, there was a glass in front of me. What can I do? Then my daughter looked at me very quizzically and she said, Dada, Carrie. All I could do was shake my head. And when she saw me shaking my head, she started to cry and bawl her head off. She said, I want to go home, I want to go home. I tell you, all my years in prison, I never missed one visit. I never. All right. Even when my mom was in hospital, I told you she discharged herself to come and see me. But that visit was the only one I never got to finish. Because my daughter was crying so uncontrollably, my wife had to bring her to leave. Because she was affecting the other prisoners having their visit. Okay. So I considered that day the worst day of my entire life. Because all my daughter wanted from me, her father, for her birthday, was for me to carry her, and yet I could not do it. So that day was a turning point in my life. I told myself, Bruce, you got to call it a day. You got to call it a day. Because if you don't, history is going to repeat itself again. And I remember my exact words. My exact words to myself was this: I don't think my heart can take it one more time. So when I came out of prison, I happened upon this quote from Mahatma Gandhi, which says, the best way to find yourself is to lose yourself in the service of others. Okay. So the first volunteer job I did, was a car wash. And you know what? I found that I absolutely loved it. Okay, I mean, by washing cars, I raised money for a certain charitable organization that I'm able to bring a smile to other people's face. I absolutely loved it. All right. So from henceforth, I started doing a lot of volunteer work. And along the way, I guess my story sort of like struck a note in a few organizations and a few people, so much so that they asked me to go and share my stories. Okay, because I don't want people to have to go through what I've been through. So I've made it my life's goal to share my story with others so that others can learn from my mistakes.